Coach, if we can, start with the tough news on Josh Norris. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, his year's over. It's going to require surgery. He tried, did his best to join the boys, but re-injured it in the third period, just reaching. And, he didn't want to leave the bench to make a big deal of it, but, he was done halfway through.
This was always going to be the risk, wasn't it, with trying to rehab route?
Yeah, for sure, and he wanted to do it because he didn't want to have surgery and think maybe he could have rehabbed this. Unfortunately, the timeline is not great, because he'd be, full recovered maybe by the summer. But he wanted to join the boys, and he did his best to get there.
Pierre didn't say what's the recovery period on the surgery.
You know what? I don't know exactly what it is. I know that most of those shoulders are 4 or 5 months, 6 months. I think Pinto was. So where does that get you?
At least allows him to be ready for training camp next year, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, if there's a positive out there, yeah, that's it.
On that one, DJ, to your knowledge, because you talked about seeing a bunch of different doctors, especially about what to do, was the team and the player kind of in lockstep with the ultimate decision of rehabbing it for as long as it is?
Yeah, ultimately it's his decision as the player, and he talked to his surgeon in the States, and the guy had done his surgery before, and his thought was that you'd rehab it, and he'd be a legitimate chance that he wouldn't re-injure it, and that just ended up not being the case.
Greig coming in, the opportunity.
Yeah, the plan was for Ridley at some point to be up here, probably more later in the year, but he's been their best player now for probably about a month down there. And with Norris going out, I think this is a perfect time of it's 4 games to the break. Give him a look and see how he is, and make an assessment after that.
A really extended conversation with Claude Giroux and Alex DeBrincat. It's kind of atypical to see you in that type of a conversation. Is that just kind of a reset for everybody, or you're kind of talking about anything? I know you probably don't.
No, just stuff offensively that they think that obviously we want to score more goals here, and today was all about that is having the puck more. We haven't had the puck nearly enough. There was when we were playing well, we have the puck, and we haven't had it as much. And when we do give it away or put it in, we're not putting it in places to get it back. We're giving it back. And at the end of the day, if you just in simple terms, whoever has the puck more usually wins, and when we don't have the puck enough. So those two playing together, they think the game differently. They think it, certain scenarios, and they were just kind of going over with it. But it was nothing outside of that, other than their entries and hockey stuff.
When you were trying those line combinations, what were you trying to find with each combination?
Well, I think we need more depth scoring. Clearly, we tried the top 6, bottom 6 kind of over this last little bit here, and it hasn't really worked out clearly for us. We're not scoring, and no matter, Pinto's a good player, Drake's a good player. Offensively, Parker's going to do all Brass is going to do all the grunt stuff and be at the net. Then you got Giroux looking after Riley, or Ridley Greig, sorry. And that's, he's done that. He's done that with Pinto, and I wanted to have him with Giroux to help him through his shifts, help him through all these things, help him develop properly when he's up here. And then, Joseph had his best hockey last year is when he played on the wing with Norris and Brady for that stretch, and he was buzzing and he was creating offense, and he felt important to the group. And I think it's important that we get him going. He was injured and he's coming back. So, and then the other group is just pure workers that are gonna, hit and forecheck. And I think it just gives us more depth.
What's your message? I know you also had a little bit of a conversation with Drake Batherson. What would you say your message is to Drake right now?
Drake's a great player. I know, people are harping on the minuses and whatever about his game. Drake was our all-star last year, and sometimes a lot of those minuses he has nothing to do with. There's lots of times where he's standing out at the point and it goes in from a turnover or something else. And, when you play hockey, you realize there's those months or weeks where it just, you happen to be on the ice and it goes in a lot of times. The big thing for Drake is to get his offensive flair back and start getting some pluses for himself. And you're starting to feel good again. And it's so easy as a young guy to get down on yourself and start to lose your confidence and start to second guess it. Drake's a good player. Drake's a really good player. He's going to be a good player in this league for a long time. My guess would be that Drake gets hot here and Drake starts to play his best hockey in the second half.
Getting close to the 1-year anniversary of his injury, his high ankle sprain, do you think that has had any impact year out?
I don't think a year out. I think maybe early on it has. But no, I think he's back full now, and I think, he's outstanding on the power play. Let's be clear there, right? He's got 11 power play goals and 30 points on the power play. He clearly when he's in the offensive zone, he can make plays, and I need him to make plays. And that's essentially it. Sometimes players get caught up thinking too much, thinking about not wanting to get scored on, thinking about systems, thinking about Drake's got to play. And when Drake's playing and he's feeling good about himself, he makes plays as good as anyone, and he can create offense for us, and that's what I need from him. And I think just a good mental reset with this couple days off. I think, like I said, I suspect that Drake in the second half here is going to be a much more complete player, and I think you'll see him, get her going.
DJ, with regards to those line changes, just going back, had you thought about doing that a little earlier, or what was the motivation in doing it right now?
Well, we had played, really when I look at my lines over the year, the best line that we had analytically and points-wise was the Drew, Kachuk, Stutzel line. But that left, Pins playing against a lot of the other teams' top players when we went on the road all the time. And that's just not fair to a young guy that hasn't played in the league in a year. And I just thought Drew had to go down and kind of help him. And if you remember, I think early into December, we went with the 3 lines. I think we had Joseph with the Brinkat and Pinto, and I think Drake played down one more line. And we spread it out, and we had some success. But we also had a stretch where we went 2 lines, and the other groups were keeping the puck out of the net. But we're at a situation now, and it's always fluid, where we're not scoring. And, if you're not scoring, you can't give up anything. And we've got to change it up and get feeling good about ourselves.
Updates on Zaitsev and Mott?
Mott, unable to play. Zaitsev is cleared to come back. Mott is real close, probably the closest of the forwards that could come and rejoin us. And clearly he'll help. Motter's a guy that, he's a plus player. Joseph's a plus player. These guys know how to manage games. They know how to manage the puck. And just gives you an older veteran guy that can help any line.
Chartier as well, sorry.
Chartier, we're waiting on him to be cleared. I think the trainers are talking about it with Pierre today and see if he'll be cleared.
Your own issue this year, but how much would you commiserate with Woodrow was reading?
That's their business, and I'll leave that to the public to decide what they think of that. And I'll just worry about our own situation here. Is just, you realize their coaches, players, management, we're all people. And, when it's out there every day about the guy for an extended period of time, it doesn't just affect him. It's his wife, it's his kids, it's all the things that go with it. It's the assistant coaches that, got let go. There's a lot more that go into it. It's not just him, it's anybody that's let go. It's players that get sent down to the minors. It's players that get cut at training camp and never play again. There's a lot more mental health, and people speak so openly about mental health, and how we want to take care of each other, and some of the stuff that goes on, online about these things, it hurts clearly people. As you can see, Bruce is one of the winningest coaches in hockey over his time. Was visibly emotional as to what he's gone through over this span, and it was good to see that the players, they care about him. They were trying to win for him there, and hopefully he lands on his feet.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's been a good first half of the year, and excited to get out there.
How would you describe your play in the first half in Belleville?
I think it's been all right. I think I've improved a lot throughout the first half. Working with the coaching staff down in Belleville, I think it's been awesome.
DJ saying praises, saying you'd been the best player down there the last month. What do you think of him saying that?
It's awesome. It means a lot. I think I've worked hard throughout the first half, so looking forward to get out there. Yeah.
What would it mean if you get a chance to play with Alex DeBrincat and Claude Giroux right off the hop here?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. When he first told me that, I was kind of surprised, but just gonna take it and kind of just see how it goes.
When did you get the phone call, and when did you kind of know when you were coming up here?
Yeah, it was yesterday morning. Pierre called me, and I kind of just laid in bed for like an hour, just kind of taking it in, and then I drove up last night.
Why were you surprised when you found out you were going to be playing with them?
Well, it's obviously two unreal players, so they've been in this league for a while now, so it's just pretty crazy to me, but really excited.
So as you laid there for an hour, what sort of thoughts go through your mind?
I was kind of just blank for an hour. I called my parents, called my girlfriend, so yeah, it's pretty cool.
Growing up around the Flyers, obviously Giroux was a star there, and to get a chance to play with him must be unreal.
Yeah, no, he obviously my dad, who's with the Flyers, he was one of my favorite players growing up, so it's kind of crazy that playing on a line with him now.
What kind of an approach are you going to take? Are you going to ask him lots of questions or just kind of soak up what he does on the ice?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Obviously, I'm going to watch and try to learn as much as I can, and then if I have any questions, I'll ask away.
What was it like just at practice today?
It was pretty cool. I was kind of just sitting back and watching them play and kind of just doing what I can do. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
What's the challenge for you to walk the line of being really physical? And I don't know, you had the preseason game against Winnipeg where you have to walk that line. What kind of challenge is that for you?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge. Obviously, you want to be as physical as you can without taking penalties. So I think that's kind of a mindset that I have.
Just first of all, your thoughts on losing Josh for the season, and obviously that's a tough break.
Yeah. There's I know I said it about 6 weeks ago. There's no replacing a guy like him, and besides the hockey, I just for the guy himself, I feel for him. I went through it last year. The same instance, and just as a person, as a buddy, because I just feel bad, and he's gonna come back stronger for us next year, and I'm excited to see what he does next year. But obviously, very unfortunate.
Yeah, you mentioned that you kind of walked through that same path last year. So how frustrating is it to kind of be on the fence? Maybe I don't need surgery. Try to come back and then have that little false start and then have to shut it down. Just mentally.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I think you work those 6 weeks, whatever it was, to get back with the team. You're starting to be with the boys again, travel with them, and then it's just so unfortunate. It's disappointing, and mentally it's very tough. I'm not gonna lie, and you gotta have your family with you, your friends, and you're gonna come back stronger, obviously. But it's part of sports. Adversity is gonna happen, and injuries is just an unfortunate part of it. But I know the kid he is, and what kind of person he is. He'll be fine, and he'll be ready to go next year. So.
Shane, when you're presented with the option not to have surgery, it's natural to try to take it.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, 100%. Especially, we're competitors and we want to get back, out there as soon as we can. And I think you got to try the rehab part of it first. That's what I did. That's what he did. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But I think you have to try it. I wouldn't just quit on it. So he tried it and it didn't work out. So it's pretty unfortunate.
Have you talked to Josh? How's he doing?
I just heard about it this morning. I haven't seen him yet. I'll reach out to him today. I don't know if he's back there, but I'll definitely reach out to him. See how he's doing.
What do you think of the checkup?
Yeah, we built up some chemistry there when he was out, Nori, and he and Beth's pretty good buddies. So I'm excited to play with him again, and it's going to be good. I think it's a fresh start for all three of those lines. I think everyone gets a new line mate, and it should be good.